Asked me to talk about this a few weeks ago. Wasn't quite sure what direction I should be going, what type of background folks would have here in general. I hope I'm not speaking to the choir primarily, but I know there are a lot of people that have a good knowledge of it. We have our outreach program manager here with us. We're making a presentation in about 45 minutes, and he kindly provided me with pamphlets related to the outreach programs from the AdoptAStream related type activities, and that's what's being passed out at this point. And in particular, the website in there for the AdoptAStream program is given. I have been really fascinated with, first off, the view that is available out here, and secondly, the information that has been presented this morning up to this particular point. And I'm thinking that there are just a lot of significant things that can be accomplished through the ideas that are being discussed here. But one of the important things is we're dealing with water trails. You've got to have water. And you've got to have water that allow people to be in for recreational purposes. So quantity and quality are certainly essential aspects of the development of this program and the importance of protecting it. And of course, unfortunately, we have a state that historically has had unlimited water, and yet as we begin to look at things today, we see an entirely different situation developing. So we've got to protect this. The AdoptAStream program is one that is designed with protecting the water and helping to maintain quality of it as a primary function. When I was asked to talk about this, I thought, well, what better way to start but utilizing the PowerPoint presentation on introduction, which is available at the website that is shown there and in the pamphlet that we handed out to you. AdoptAStream is a program that is operated within the Environmental Protection Division, Department of Natural Resources. It has four program goals: to increase public's awareness of non-point source pollution, to provide the tools and training to allow citizens to maintain and monitor this water quality, and to encourage partnerships, and here we go back to partnerships again, between the citizens and local governments and other partnerships, and to collect baseline data, quality baseline data. And that's an important thing because the state staff is only capable of monitoring so much, and the additional data that can be submitted by volunteer programs, if it is done with quality work, can be of great value to the state. There's just recently been an article in Bioscience, which is the publication of the American Association of Biological Sciences, that talks about the value of long-term monitoring. And one of the methods of long-term monitoring is the use of volunteer monitors. So this becomes a useful thing. We need, and probably all of us know, that there are two basic categories of pollution that we can recognize. One is point source, where you can literally point the pipe as the source of the pollution, which may be industrial waste or sewage, effluent, or something of this sort. And the EPD has done a generally good job of improving water quality through the permitting process. In contrast to that, we have non-point source pollution, which is a generally widespread sort of pollution, and as listed here, we have sediments, and fertilizers, and animal waste, and runoffs, and illicit spills, unfortunately, which still occur within legal dumps at night. And it's the number one cause of problems in Georgia, so we can take note of that, and also take note of the fact that we all contribute to a greater or less extent with that. Monitoring is important because our life depends on the water that we have, both for drinking purposes and recreation. As you look at the program you've got going here, certainly the quality of the water, the safety of it is very, very important. And monitoring allows us to keep up with that. And the water cycle which we all probably are quite familiar with, is an important part of this because it's all the water we have, as it says here. There are some mechanisms by which one can get started by if you're interested in forming an AdoptAStream group. And I would think that there would be much value in having some along the river, a canoe trail, so you can keep up with the water quality there. But if you're interested in forming it, obviously you get a group together of 2 or more individuals, register the name and the site that you're going to monitor and so forth, interact with the local government. And this idea of finding partners, again, is important because if you need a local bank or something like this, that could be a source of funding that would help provide for some of the minor expenses that occur in the monitoring activities. Quality assurance, quality control is an essential part. I said before earlier, quality data. And there is new data that can come into being through some of these monitoring programs. New concepts of what is the pH that one might expect from normal background conditions in this stream. Harold and I were working on Whitewater Creek a number of years ago, and his group, I think, found pH values in one of the headwater areas that were below the state standards, and yet it was an absolutely normal sort of circumstance. So quality assurance, quality control is important. That provides testing methods and analytical methods and data handling. And this individuals are trained and certified, and then in turn the certification has to be carried out on an annual basis. You have such things as watershed evaluations where you go in and kind of with the windshield and walking, see what sort of pollution sources might be present in the watershed. The new emphasis within the program is the visual stream monitoring, whereby you go in and look at stream characteristics. And Harold has provided us with a series of photographs that are on back display there that show methods of visually evaluating streams with regard to bottom types and vegetation types and things of this sort. That's crucial. Some elementary engineering can be applied, and I always, when I'm working with a group that might include school teachers, point out the usefulness of this, because you can get in and be a primitive engineering or simple engineering, get in and teach some very interesting mathematical concepts, but you also, in doing so, can work out the geometry of the stream channel and calculate stream flow and things like this, which are interestingly important things. Chemical monitoring, looking for 4 principal parameters: pH, temperature, dissolved oxygen, and conductivity. These all define attributes that are important to the organisms that are living in that water. If you're going to be maintaining fish populations, or if you're just going to utilize the water as a part of the natural ecosystem and the recycling that takes place in the overall general scheme of things, and consider the value of natural systems, these are all important things. And you can get into some additional things like nutrients, but this is done on a monthly basis. Biological monitoring is another fascinating thing, being a biologist, and particularly an invertebrate biologist. And that's one about backbone, as I learned years ago. But at any rate, you get in and collect the aquatic insects and the crustacea and so forth that are in there. From that you can define the community structure and get some idea of the nature of the health of that stream system. This is something that is done on a quarterly basis. And this is just some examples of some of the insects that can be found there. By the way, all 5 of these photographs, as well as a lot more, are available through the website that the AdoptAStream program maintains. And I just pulled them off of there and incorporated them here. That background that we see on the slide over there is the one that they incorporated into their PowerPoint presentations, which stole for them too. Bacterial monitoring. This is an extremely important thing. I think particularly when we're looking at the water quality in canoeing and recreational purposes and so forth. And this is a program that has really come a good ways over the last, 5 years, something like that, Harold, the development of the monitoring for bacteria, in particular E. coli. They've evolved and produced a really good scheme for evaluating the E. coli. And that's Escherichia coli, they know, is found only in the digestive tracts of warm-blooded animals, birds and mammals. Therefore, if you find E. coli in the water, you know you've got fecal matter getting into that water. And the water then has the potential of pathogens present in there. We've heard some terrible stories in recent years, not necessarily associated with sewage, recent months, problems that can come from getting into streams. At any rate, this is done on a monthly basis also. This is the organization of the AdoptAStream program, state coordinators. Harold is the outreach manager, and he's got some staff of 7 people under him that work to coordinate the activities that are going on. There's an advisory board that consists of volunteer individuals that work to help advise on the methods to utilize. Local coordinators and trainers. These are the individuals that are involved in providing the training and the certification that is necessary if one is going to carry out a certified program. There are, of course, the local partners that we might incorporate. But then finally, down on the front lines are those individuals that are going to be doing the monitoring. And then ideally, there will be some type of annual activity, such as the river banks cleanup. There are several of those going on today, one right across I-20 to the north of here, and I know of several others over on Lake Oconee where I recently moved. And fortunately I couldn't participate in that because I'm participating here. But at any rate, those are important activities and they are again a part of this outreach program. There are resources. My goodness, there are a multitude of resources that are available through this website, cross-links and so forth. I am just fascinated with all the technology that develops, although I also am one of those that never brought up to Facebook because I'm afraid of it. And I keep hearing horror stories, so I continue to be afraid of it. But anyway, technology is wonderful, and they've got all sorts of great things there. So, why get involved in the AdoptAStream program? I don't know how well you can read that. I can't read it very well from here. But you get to better know your stream and to understand the processes that are going on there. And you get to know something about problems that are present in your stream. And by being out and monitoring, very often people will see you. They'll want to know what you're doing. And as you do this, you can let them know, and in turn that's creating notoriety for your program and notoriety for your stream system. And again, if you've got these other trails developed there, more notoriety for that. And all that goes out, and you think in terms of the beginning today, the economic advantages that can come from something like this. That's a fantastic amount of money that is being spent in the nation on recreation and paddling and so forth. And lastly, basic data. And that's, to me, an extremely crucial thing because, again, there is so much information that is not known, and this is a way of knowing more about it. I was just thinking in preparing for this that the Alcovey River system over here, about 40 years ago, Charlie Wharton, who was a biology professor at Georgia State University, first got famous for studying water moccasins on Seahorse Key, which is out in the Gulf of Mexico, this ocean-locked population of water moccasins, the only probably marine-dwelling water moccasins around. He got his start with that. Later on, he wrote the famous Natural Areas of Georgia, which is now out of print, published through the Environmental. Excuse me, I'll get it right in the Department of Natural Resources. He studied the Alcovey River swamp, looking at its role in picking up nutrients. And I've got 1 minute left, so I was going to say if there are any questions or anything that I might help you with. I'm not too far from here. I am a certified trainer, and I've been working with streams for probably a half a century, and I may know a little bit. So if there's anything I can Yes, help. Yes.
We have an ongoing debate about whether we should take tires out of the streams or leave them in as habitat.
That was an interesting thing, and I wish we had some research on that to tell us. They're putting tires in the ocean.
Oh yeah, agreed.
I don't know. I would say that there's some value to it. Yeah. It would reduce the load that you can turn in when you're turning in your collection load.
Anything else? All right. Thank you so much, Hap.